Hi, I'm Ruby Lopez, and welcome to today's webcast from the Intel Retail Edge program. We've got a great show planned for you. Today's webcast is the first of its kind for our Intel Retail Edge VIP members. We're announcing the launch of the latest processor from Intel, codenamed Rocket Lake. This is an opportunity for Intel to provide an amazing training for you and your team. And it's a great time for us to share what we've planned in the coming months on the Intel Retail Edge program. Now, stay tuned to the entire show because you don't want to miss out on the credit earning opportunities we'll have for you throughout today's program. Plus, we'll have an exciting raffle drawing for you today as well, a chance to win an HP Omen gaming laptop. We're giving away 2 of these units during this webcast. First, we'll share what's new on the Intel Retail Edge program website. We're always looking for ways to bring you more information to help you out on the sales floor. So we want to make sure you know all about our new and engaging training opportunities. Next, we'll hear from Troy Severson, Sales Director for PC Gaming with Intel. Troy works with Intel's broad gaming ecosystem partners, including retailers and PC manufacturers, to sell gaming PCs to consumers. Troy will provide a deep dive, advanced look at the new 11th Gen Intel Core desktop processors and talk about the performance and features they deliver for our gaming consumers. He'll show the changes and innovations 11th Gen Core processors bring to the desktop platform and how they stack up against the competition. Our next guest is Intel promoter James Connors. He'll share all the details about our very special raffle during today's show. Before we get started with our presentation, I have a few things to cover. 4 times throughout the webcast, a click here to earn credits link will appear. Now, each time you click on it, you earn credits. And you can earn a total of 2,500 credits if you stay with us to the end of the event, so stick around. Now, you don't want to be at full screen setting because you won't be able to see the link. That's how it works, and we'll do it 4 times, so keep an eye out for that link. As a matter of fact, let's kick off the show by giving you all a chance to earn 500 credits right now. So go ahead and tap the click here to earn credits link, which should appear automatically on your screen below the window in the next few minutes. Now, like I mentioned, there's no need to refresh your page. It'll be up for a few minutes, so you have plenty of time to click it. Now, let's get started. First, let's start with a couple of Intel Retail Edge program announcements. If you're not lucky enough to snag one of those sweet HP Omen laptops during the webcast, all is not lost. Beginning tomorrow, the training presentation you are about to witness today will be available on the program website. Take the quiz associated with the training video, and you'll be entered into a chance to win an HP Omen gaming laptop. Be sure to do this before April 5th, which is when that drawing will end. Note, this will be an exclusive drawing only for our Masters and Legends. Now, if you haven't seen it yet, be sure to check out James Connors in our new Edge Update videos. Yes, we're bringing back Edge Update and the Edge crew. James will be with us later to talk about what he's been up to.
Now let's introduce our guest, Troy Severson, a sales director for PC Gaming with Intel. He'll be sharing everything you need to know about the new product announcement from Intel. Hey, Troy, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Ruby. I really appreciate you having me be here.
Well, we appreciate you joining us. Hey, Troy, why don't you go ahead and tell our audience a little bit more about yourself and your role with Intel?
Okay, I am in the consumer sales division, and I manage the worldwide PC gaming segment. So any sales that we do with our retail and OEM partners to end users, I generally get involved with.
All right, and how did you get involved with gaming in the first place?
Oh, wow, you're asking me to go back a long, long way. I got involved with gaming, with playing games with my nephews, and it was all the way back when StarCraft first came out. And one of my nephews was actually the very first Pro Gamer League StarCraft champion way back, wait for it, December of 1998. And I've been gaming ever since.
Gaming ever since, just a little bit more gray on the top, right?
a little more gray. The reactions are a little bit slower, but I still enjoy getting in there and mixing it up.
And still having fun. Well, that's great. Now, everybody, before we start, I want to remind everyone that you can submit questions for Troy throughout the presentation. We'll be answering your questions at the end. Now, remember, Troy will be taking your questions live, so stay connected to your keyboards. And as always, if you have questions about the program, you can email customer support and we'll get back to you. All right, Troy, what do you have for us today?
Today, I'm going to talk to you about Intel's Core S-Series processor family for desktop PCs. As you know, it's our most powerful consumer CPU that we put on the market for consumers to buy and use. And they use them in gaming for the best gaming performance that they can get in any CPU. And we've got a lot of tuners and DIYers who love to use these CPUs for doing tuning and overclocking. I'm going to talk a little bit about that as well. And of course, there's the people who are creating, the music producers, the video producers who need that power for their workflows and their creating. Before I talk a lot about the new 11th gen, I want to talk about how we design our CPUs and our new CPUs. Intel really focuses on real world performance, and we want to focus on the uses that matter to those users. So rather than paying attention to synthetic benchmarks, we really look at what they're using it for, whether it's productivity or the gaming and creation or tuning that we talked about in that previous slide. So what is the best way to measure performance? It's actually by using the real programs that people are going to use their PCs for. So if you're looking at gaming performance, run games. If you're looking at productivity, run productivity apps and compare the performance within those applications. Frankly, our competition and sometimes the tech press loves to rely on the simple, easy-to-use synthetic benchmarks, but they don't tell the story of real-world performance that's going to benefit our end users the most. At Intel, we focus on that real-world performance and we design it into the CPUs. So now let's talk about the 11th gen Intel Core desktop processors, codenamed Rocket Lake. You may have heard a lot about these so far, but we're going to do a little deep dive for you ahead of when they're really available in the marketplace. So we've really looked at these and tried to reimagine performance. So what does performance mean? How do we build that into the CPU itself? We've also improved the graphics. And I know that for a lot of people who are using gaming and for creationists, they're using discrete graphics cards. But the integrated graphics is still playing an important role even in these high-end desktop CPUs. And then I'm going to dive into the new improvements we've made to enhance the tuning and the user control for overclocking. So those are three core pillars in the new 11th gen Rocket Lake desktop CPUs. So here's the new and featured technologies for 11th gen. And you can see that this is a very busy slide. This is exciting because there's a lot of new stuff in 11th gen. Right off the top, we're going to talk about instructions per cycle. The fact that we have a whole new architecture in these CPUs that improves that instructions per cycle by up to 19% over the previous 10th gen CPUs. We've got a lot of other features, but I want to highlight a couple. Improvements in I/O that are really important for these usage capabilities, moving to PCIe Gen 4. We've also got improvements in deep learning boost and the overclocking features I mentioned. There's a lot of exciting things are going to change there. As well, the platform, the chipset that we've used with 11th gen is also improving. And you're going to see a lot of new changes and new capabilities come in with that, whether it's support for new higher speed memory, or whether it's capabilities for enhanced display, enhanced connectivity through Wi-Fi 6. All those things are now new in the 11th gen CPU processors. So let's move on and talk and deep dive into a couple of these new areas. The new process architecture. So I talked a little bit about the instructions per cycle. Well, how do we get there? Well, one of the things we did was we actually took the new architecture from some of our most recent generation chips on the mobile side, and we took those architectural improvements and we put them into the desktop CPUs. That's how we achieved the instructions per cycle improvement. That was easy for me to say. But a 19% boost gen over gen is really a huge boost that we get out of that new core architecture. I also mentioned the new enhanced graphics. We're going to dive deeper into this as well, but just to touch upon it, it is the graphics that uses our new Iris Xe graphics architecture. So you've seen that in our Tiger Lake 11th gen mobile CPUs, but we're now integrating it here into our desktop CPUs. And even though we know a lot of people are going to use discrete graphics, with the new Iris Xe architecture, we can actually concurrently use that integrated graphics along with the discrete graphics. And I'll tell you about the benefits that users will see out of that in a couple of slides that will follow. As well, we've got whole new improvements in AI integration, right? We call it Intel Deep Learning Boost. And this actually came from our server CPUs, and we're moving that into our consumer CPUs slowly. You've heard, again, some of this has been already integrated into our 11th gen mobile CPUs, but now making it into our desktop processors is really going to help some of the workflows in creation and actually in some of the gaming performance as well. So again, new core architecture, new instructions per cycle, new graphics that are really going to help, and then AI integration that's really going to speed the performance for creation. So diving into Deep Learning Boost. Again, this is what really supports AI. And this is actually going to really speed up a lot of the workflows that those people doing content creation are going to be using the most. So what is Intel Deep Learning Boost? Well, it's formerly known as VNNI. That's probably what you've heard, the Vector Neural Network Instructions. Those instructions were meant to speed up tasks that are sort of repetitive in the AI world. And now with Intel Deep Learning Boost, we've accelerated them even faster, where we're able to sometimes replace 3 instructions with just 1 under Intel Deep Learning Boost. So that gives you a lot of acceleration of some of those repetitive tasks. Now, what does that mean for end users? And you see that in the bottom right of this slide. For end users, it really means accelerating a lot of those repetitive tasks that normally we'd have to sit and wait for, whether it's image recognition, object detection. Think about things like clarifying a still image or even colorizing an old black and white photo. Those are things that took a lot of processing power in the past, and now we've been able to speed those up with Intel Deep Learning Boost. And in the bottom left, you can see some examples of some of the apps that use Deep Learning Boost and benefit from that. Nero, Cyberlink, XSplit, and libraries like OpenVINO are also going to be able to tap into that Deep Learning Boost to accelerate the performance of these AI architectures and actions. So a lot of savings there, a lot of benefit for the content creators, especially with Intel Deep Learning Boost. Again, now one of the new great features of Intel 11th Gen Core. Graphics. Again, I've mentioned a couple times, we're really improving the graphics. I think you've heard a lot recently about the Intel's Iris Xe graphics architecture and the great advances that that's made on the mobile side of the house. Now, again, a lot of people are asking the questions, why would you integrate that into desktop CPUs? They're going to largely be used for gaming and for content creation where they need discrete graphics cards. Well, there's a number of reasons we do that for the users, because that integrated graphics still powers things like stunning visuals for when you're watching or downloading videos. So the codecs that are in there are going to completely accelerate that syncing. We still have Intel Active Sync, which will provide the codecs for very fast video compression, decompression, and speed up some of that syncing. So you're going to get that from content consumption as well as in the content creation space. In gaming, again, while we're using the discrete graphics card to play the games and get the best visual performance possible, the Intel integrated graphics can be working in the background to speed up things like the streaming and recording that those players might be doing in the background while they're playing the game, or even some of the other multitasks like voice communication. So the fact that you can concurrently use that integrated graphics, the built-in codecs, and the built-in AVI streams, it's a capability that now complements that discrete graphics card and improves the overall performance of the system dramatically. So you can get both, again, great gaming performance from your discrete graphics card, but also at the same time, fantastic video upload and decompression times that are going to really improve the overall responsiveness of your system and reduce waiting if you're doing content creation. So that's why we've now integrated Iris Xe architecture, UHD graphics in Intel's Core 11th Gen CPUs. Okay, one of the features I talked about was the improvements in overclocking and the control that we're now putting in those tuners' hands. So for 11th Gen Core CPUs, we've really unlocked a lot of possibilities. I'm going to go through this very quickly, but know that you can dig a lot deeper. So one of the things that's really cool is in the upper left, you can see we've really enhanced the ability to do the core and the memory overclocking. You can even go in and turn off individual threads within individual cores. So PCI overclocking, frequency control, these are all new on 11th gen. We do that through the Intel Extreme Tuning utility. This is a free utility. You can download it, and if you have an unlocked CPU with this 500 series chipset, you can get all of those capabilities to really tweak and get the maximum performance. If you're not into tweaking and doing all of the detail work, there's the Intel Performance Maximizer, which does it for you automatically. It uses some of the same capabilities that we use in the fab to judge the performance of the processor and set it automatically for you and get the best performance you can in your system automatically. We've also added the Intel Extreme Memory Profile. So this allows you to do that memory overclocking and then get the best performance out of that combination of CPU and memory. I want to talk a little bit about the platform innovations too, the things around the CPU that have changed. Some of these are in the 500 series chipset, but high-speed data transfer. So this is really the I/O. I mentioned the PCIe Gen 4 and 20 lanes. Again, lightning fast connection to discrete graphics card or storage. Integrated USB 3.2. This actually almost doubles the speed of the USB capabilities within the systems with 11th gen core. Best-in-class Wi-Fi, connecting to Wi-Fi 6. This is a little bit of a, future looking. I want to invest in the future because we know that not everybody has Wi-Fi 6 controllers yet and access points, but this is something that's going to improve Wi-Fi connectivity in your networking. Enhanced media display, we talked about this with the integrated Intel graphics and the things that you can get out of that with the integrated graphics working with the discrete graphics in the PC system. And then the Intel enhanced QuickSync video. Again, we hit on this, the fast codecs that allow you to upload and download video better and decompress and work through those workflows for content creation. An Intel 11th gen core has a full complement of SKUs. Core i5 through Core i9. We have the K SKUs that are unlocked. I'm just going to flash through these, but it is the full product portfolio, even the GT0 SKUs. So you know that these are the ones that don't have the integrated graphics, but are for use with gaming system or content creation systems that are going to rely solely on discrete graphics. I also want to mention that all of these things are part of the whole Intel system, the CPU plus the new 500 series chipset. So the CPU features and the chipset features are what deliver this overall capability. You can still use 11th gen Rocket Lake with 400 series chipsets, but you won't get some of those advanced features like the overclocking control and the capabilities with the platform connectivity through Wi-Fi. In just a brief moment, you're going to see Intel really up our game in terms of our gaming marketing. So you're going to see us really push on these pillars, continuing to invest in esports, continuing to look at how we work with our countries locally and co-marketing with games and gaming content. So you're going to see Intel engage with the community a lot more, but you're going to see us continue to do the things we're really good at, like the esports, Intel Extreme Masters, ESL Go, etc. So look for us to up our marketing game. And one of the ways we're going to do that is with some fantastic new look and feel that you're going to see in the retail market. So we've got a lot of priorities, and we're going to really be pushing hard with our retailers on 11th gen desktop and mobile systems for 2021. And one of the things that's going to be most apparent in how we market is going to be a new gaming ID from Intel. So this is going to roll out with our 11th gen desktop CPUs, but it's really cool how we're going to be able to integrate our partners, integrate retail, and have a new look and feel for our community to enjoy. So I hope you enjoyed this deep dive look into the 11th gen core CPUs. It's going to be an exciting year for Intel in gaming, in content creation, and for those tuners. So for me, thank you again for listening, and fire away with your questions.
All right, thanks, Troy. Very cool. Okay, guys, don't forget, be sure to have your questions ready. In the Q&A segment later in the show, Troy can shed some light on anything that's unclear. Now, before we introduce our next guest, it's time to earn more credits. So look for the click here to earn credits link should appear in the next few minutes. And don't forget, we'll be doing this 2 more times throughout the show. Now it's time to introduce our next guest, a promoter with Intel, James Connors, and he's going to tell us all about the details for today's raffle. Thanks for joining us, James.
Thank you, Ruby. I'm happy to be here.
Now, before we start, why don't you brag a little bit about yourself? Tell us about yourself, your role with Intel, what's going on?
Sure. So I've been with the Intel promoter team for about 6 years now. And actually just last year had a change in roles where now I primarily make content for the Intel Retail Edge program. I also do live webinars on our partner showcase. And finally, what I'm most excited about is we are bringing back the Edge crew. And I know you know a little bit about that, Ruby.
Yes, I'm so excited about that. I love the Edge Update crew. We had so many fun times, and I know that everybody out there is going to have a blast bringing that back.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. And I have some pretty big shoes to fill. So part of what we're going to have with this is the first Monday of every month, we're going to have our Edge Update. So that's going to keep everyone informed on what's going on and what launches on the site the first Monday of each month. From there, we're also going to have member spotlights to showcase some of the masters and legends like the ones that we have here on this webcast today. And finally, we're going to have tons of other fun video content. So I'm really excited about it, and I hope the community is too.
Well, awesome. It sounds great, James. Now, you guys are going to love Edge Update, and I can't wait to watch you guys, James. Now, hey, why don't we transition? Tell us a little bit about today's awesome prize.
Absolutely. I'm sure that's what everybody's been waiting on anyway, right? So today we are giving away a new HP Omen gaming laptop. This thing is amazing. It features a 10th gen Intel Core i7 processor, and it's perfect because it lets you take desktop caliber gaming on the go. Who doesn't want that, right? All right, so let's get to it. I'm sure everybody's been waiting for this. It's time for our first drawing of the day. So can I get a drum roll, please?
Oh, I've got you covered, James. You ready?
Yeah, I was just being told that we don't have a drum roll. Thank you, Ruby. All right, so let's get to our first winner of the day. And it is, let's see here, Michael H. from Best Buy in Grand Forks, North Dakota. Congratulations to you, Michael. You are the proud new owner of an HP Omen gaming laptop. I know you're going to love it. All right, that's it for our first drawing. Back over to you, Ruby.
Oh my gosh, how exciting. Congratulations, Michael. Thanks, James. Oh man, I hope you enjoy that HP Omen gaming laptop. James will be doing another raffle later in the show, so be sure to stay tuned. And don't worry, the fun doesn't end here. It's time again to earn more credits. So look for the click here to earn credits link in the next few minutes. And stick around because we'll have one more credit moment coming up at the end of our show. Now, let's see what questions we have from our audience for Troy. Hey, let's go ahead. There you are, Troy. Are you ready? We're going to try to stump you. They love to do that, you know, to our experts.
I'm all ready. I'll try not to be stumped as much as possible.
All right, well, let's get started then. Let me pull up our questions here. You're our expert for a reason. They're not going to stump you. Don't worry. We've got this covered. All right, let's see. Oh, this question is from Jeff. Jeff Solheim, and I apologize in advance in case I mess up your names, you guys, but you guys all have rock star names here. Let's see. What would be the target audience for an upgrade to 11th gen, 9th gen customers, etc.?
Oh, I think definitely you're looking at people who are doing gaming, right? I mean, gaming is going to be the place that's going to benefit the most. We talked a little bit about those instructions per cycle. And when you combine that with the higher frequencies that we get in 10th and 11th gen over 9th gen, it's actually going to be a pretty big boost in gaming performance. You're going to see your frames per second go up. Additionally, because of the PCIe Gen 4 lanes, it's going to talk to graphics cards and storage better. And that's also going to improve your gaming experience. I think gaming is going to be number one for the improvement and the upgrade.
All right, now they're interested in you. I think they love hearing that you're gaming. And somebody here, Gregory Thompson, he wants to know, did you ever compete?
I didn't compete. I wasn't quite good enough. I think the best I got to, I played a lot of League of Legends recently with my son, who's actually a little bit older now. And I think I got at one point the silver ranking, but that was about it.
I love it. Fun questions. Let's get to know Troy. All right, here's one from Margarita. Do they really need overclock?
Overclocking is really a thing for hobbyists, and what we find is, there's a slim segment of the market at the very highest end that gets into overclocking, but it's really one of those hobbyist things. There's people who love to get into it, and they really do enjoy sort of, again, it's almost less about getting the performance out of the PC and just setting a bunch of really cool records. I mean, we've got people who, there's actually a website out there where people can post their overclocking results, and it's almost a competition within itself where they're just saying, hey, I've been able to do this, and I've been able to get the highest frequencies that you've seen on, for example, a ninth gen, Core i9. So it is a little bit of a smaller segment, but the people who get into it are really super passionate about it.
That's awesome. Nothing wrong with a little competition. I love that. All right, next question from Lee Nguyen. Will S-Series be an AIO, or is it just for a regular desktop?
The S-Series is really meant for larger desktops, but I will say there's a lot of innovation around the form factor and the cooling that is allowing us to shrink those down. And you're going to see Core i9 all the way down to desktops that have form factors that are 5 liters and even less. And for an example, that means it would be easily carry on to an airliner, for example. 5 liters is pretty small. So there is some innovation in that regard, but they're generally going to use the locked versions, the S series that's not a K, for the thermals that are in those smaller form factors. But it really is cool to see those. We've got some at Intel that are part of our NUC family, that are down to 5, again, under 5 liters. These are really tiny desktops, but they have all the power, full-size graphics cards that you would need for high-performance gaming.
All right, very cool. And Jeff stuck them both in there. He's on it, asking all the questions. He wants to know from you, Troy, what is a compelling story I can tell my customers who may have migrated to AMD chips in the last 2 years to encourage them to come back to the Intel family?
Well, one of the things you're going to see is again, that starting to really do a better job of linking to new graphics. So I talked a little bit about the fact that we've got Iris Xe architecture underlying in the integrated graphics. And that's a cool thing because you're starting to see Intel come in with, how do we do a better job linking CPU performance to GPU performance? And we're going to really work on that. We actually did a thing with NVIDIA where we can now do what's called resizable bar. So that's where the graphics chip talks to the CPU. And generally that's limited to a certain size of data string at one time. But now working with NVIDIA very closely, we've made it so that if the bandwidth is there, if you've got many PCIe Gen 4 lanes, for example, you can actually resize that data set, and the graphics card will talk to the CPU even faster, and you'll get better performance out of it. So part of going back to Intel, if someone's been on the competition, is now being able to have that better really kind of almost communication between the CPU and the GPU, whether it's NVIDIA, whether it's the Intel integrated graphics, or whatever the future in graphics architecture might be.
All right, well, good answer. And Zachary Beshore, he wants to know, he says, reading that 11 has a few cores and a bit lower clock rate, but faster peak speed. How did that happen?
Really, it goes back to that new architecture, right? So it really is almost a rewriting of the code within the CPU itself and how it handles data. So again, most of the games, most of the applications we use today actually top out at using around 6 cores. So kind of anything over that's a little bit overkill. So you want to make sure that the cores that you do have, at least those first 6, are the ones that are really going to handle most of the workload. And so by increasing the IPC, those instructions per cycle, increasing the top end and the turbo boosts on those frequencies, that's really where you're going to get your performance, both in gaming and in most of the productivity tasks that we talked about. So that's really where we wanted to apply our advances. is in the stuff that people really do, the real world performance that I talked about.
All right. Yeah. Now, Ed Van Winkle, he's asking, is the Intel Deep Learning Boost website available now? Is that something you can answer, Troy?
I believe it is out there on Intel.com, but I can get back to Ed if it's not. So
Yeah.
I don't know the exact
Hey, Ed, you
answer
can
to that.
always send a question to support. Yeah, we'll always get back to you, Ed. So just shoot this one over to customer support. Let's see. Billy Whitehouse, he wants to know, does the XE in laptops drive the new wide monitors, such like 34 inches, 49 inches?
Yeah, actually, even if you're using the Iris Xe graphics on a mainstream mobile platform, I think the limit right now that it can drive is roughly like 4 HDR 4K screens. So it really is a very powerful graphics architecture. Now, in the desktop side, we use the same architecture. We don't pack as many of what's called execution units into the desktop side on the integrated graphics because, again, most people use discrete. But so it's the same architecture, the same graphics, not quite as many execution units as we get on the mobile side. So that's why mobile might be a little bit better at driving some of those external displays than on the desktop side.
All right, Troy, they want to know more about you. Let's see, Will Correa here. He wants to know, what's your favorite game in 2021?
My favorite game in
What are you playing,
2021.
Troy?
Yeah, honestly, I've been playing a lot of Modern Warfare Warzone. Again, it's a group game, and I really enjoy the social aspects of gaming. So it's about getting on a Warzone game, doing like looting mode, plunder mode, and just earning some dollars. I'm not a great first person shooter player, so the collecting and the treasure hunting is a little bit more fun for me.
All right, I'm learning more about you, Troy, as the show goes on. A shoot 'em up person. Okay. All right. That's fun. All right. Robert Black is asking, do older generation Intel graphics work with discrete graphic cards, or is this new to the 11th gen CPUs?
Using them concurrently is new to 11th gen. So before you sort of selected one or the other, if you had a discrete graphics card, you use the discrete graphics card. That really is new with 11th gen and the Iris Xe architecture.
All right. Last question for you here, Troy. This is from Raylon Saratan. Is that right? Oh, I threw the accent in there. See, Troy, would the integrated Intel graphics work no matter what discrete graphics card a customer put on their PC, or would there be restrictions or certain ones only applicable to it?
No, there shouldn't be any restrictions as long as you're using a PCIe, card. It's gonna work concurrently with that card. So whether it's one from AMD, one from NVIDIA, it won't matter. It should work concurrently with any of the discrete graphics in there.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Troy. I appreciate it. I had so much fun. I think they enjoyed learning all about you as well, right? We got to learn about the Innovations 11th Gen Core processors and what it brings to the desktop platform, but we learned a little bit more about you too.
Cool. Thanks so much for having me today, Ruby. I really appreciate it. It was really fun.
We had fun with you. And now it's time for our second raffle and a chance to walk away with our fantastic prize, the HP Omen gaming laptop.
James, we brought you back already for our second raffle. Are you ready? I'm so excited. Can you tell?
I am ready to go. I'm so, Troy did a great job, and I'm so excited that I get to take care of the fun stuff. And something else, I noticed there was a question about the puppy here, and I have a special guest to do the second drawing with me. You ready, Bella? Yeah, Bella has been featured in some of our trainings. She's always a hit. Yeah, so Bella is here to help me out. And it is about time. Ruby, can you help me out with that drum roll again?
I got you. And Bella.
Right. Yeah. Bella, you ready? You gonna do the second drawing? All right.
Lucky dog.
Let's find out who our second winner is. Let me get digging in there. All right. So our winner is Bella's. She's trying to eat it. Our second winner is Matt B from Staples in Warwick, Rhode Island. Congratulations to you, sir. You're the proud new owner of an HP Omen. Bella, you want to cheer for him? All right. Well, that's it for us, or for me and Bella. Back over to you, Ruby.
Now it's time for your last chance to earn more credits. Look for the click here to earn credits link in the next few moments. This time is for 1,000 credits. Remember, you can check out the training presentation from this webcast tomorrow right here at the Intel Retail Edge program. Masters and Legends will earn another chance to win an HP Omen gaming laptop. So stay tuned to the Intel Retail Edge program and be on the lookout for all of our great promotions coming up soon. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you soon.